few short weeks away, and Rumpure Sports is gearing up for the season with the best deal in DFS.
For a limited time only, we are offering new members a 15% discount for the life of their subscription, including SaberSim subs. Simply use the promo code NFL15 when subscribing to take advantage of this great deal before our prices go up.
And at RPS, we don't just give you access to one sport. When you subscribe to our premium service, we give you access to all of our content, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and so much more.
And we're not going to charge extra for access to our preseason content either. Our memberships include all of our content, including the NFL preseason. The best DFS players in the industry give you access to their core plays and slate strategies for every sport and for every slate. Simplify your lineup building process by plugging in picks directly from the top players in the world. Watch our premium live streams to gain a huge edge on the competition. Our guys are live up to lock for the biggest slates, walking you through their last-minute decisions, analyzing breaking news and injury alerts for the major sports.
Again, for a limited time only, you can access our industry-leading DFS content for 15% off our already low price. SaberSim packages are included, so sign up today using the promo code NFL15 for 15% off your subscription for life and start building winning lineups today.
What's going on, everybody? We got the Print Factory here, a main slate edition for you. We got the same cast of characters. I'm your host, as always, JSU. Just want to remind you, hit the thumbs up button, that like button, hit the subscribe button, that red box at the bottom right-hand corner. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, we literally had like 5 shows today. Our producer, Simon, stuck with us all the way through. Guy's been grinding all day, so give him some love. Not even me, not even us. Give Simon, the producer, some love and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. A lot of good stuff over at Rumpure Sports. We got a promo code going right now. NFL15 is the promo code. Get you 15% off your first monthly subscription as long as you stay with us for life. So make sure you get in now because that promo is going away in about 5 days. So get in while it's hot. Week 1 of the NFL season, and it's here, boys. We got Big T. We got Uncle Dunkle. We got ODB back, the entire crew, and we're going to take you guys through the entire main slate of a Week 1 NFL Sunday. ODB, man, what's going on with you here? You're in Cabo. Talk to the people.
Yeah, just loving life. NFL season. Can't wait. This is one of my favorite hours. I say hours, but usually ends up 2 hours, but of the week. I always have a lot of opinions, but you guys help either solidify them or change them before we start getting locked in for the weekend. So excited to be back again. I mean, I do this for you guys and for everybody watching, but I also do it for myself. Like, where else am I going to get the undivided attention of, 3 smart guys like you guys? So yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get all Tony's takes on the Commodores or Commanders or whoever the fuck that team is. And Carson is boy
don't
Carson.
go to Wentz already. We're trying to keep it to 90 minutes.
Oh, boy. Hold on. We'll get to him. Don't worry, ODB. We'll get to him. Uncle Dunkle, what's going on, man? You're in the college streets last week. I saw you ship. I mean, Tony, does this guy have screenshots for days? And he's sandbagging.
Yeah. That's all he does is freaking sandbag.
Football players we know,
yeah.
And no one knows about it. But if you don't know, Dunkle's a friggin' DFS pro too. Don't you
dare let him get 0 back one slate though, because he'll get a billboard by going down the freaking highway to show his 0 he got back.
Oh yeah, he'll let you know when he loses in DFS, but when he wins, it's just something. But he's not just a betting guy; he's a DFS guy too. Don't let him fool you, Uncle Dunkle. What's going on, brother?
I owe all my DFS success to Rumpure Sports. #RunPure. Big T between his core every day, JSU's core every day. It's hard. It's actually hard to lose money following these dudes on a daily basis. So, keep up the good work, guys. I've been making a lot of money off of your data, so appreciate it.
Funny because I didn't ship last Saturday. I lost, so I don't know how you won with my plays. I think you used your own plays there, Dunkel.
It was probably just a mix up in the optimizer, Tony. I'm sure it wasn't.
SaberSim, you got to get that SaberSim to get the shipper.
Exactly. But no, excited to be back with you guys doing this show. I know ODB says it's his favorite hour of the week. I disagree, but either way, it's a good show. It's a good show, and obviously always great to get your guys' perspectives on all these games. So excited.
Well, Dunkel, I'm glad to hear that you thoroughly do not enjoy sitting in that seat for 2 hours, listening to the guys and me ramble on and on about football. So glad to hear that. Big T, second show today with you, buddy. How you doing here? You got 3.5 hours of football talk in you today?
So we starting a new season. My only goal for this year is to be rich enough as ODB. I can have a cactus in my screenshot while doing a show from Cabo to start week 1. It's my only goal this year to be that rich.
Well, come on down. Let's party in Cabo after the live final. And
now you're talking.
Let's do it.
Let's be honest.
What's all this background stuff? Looks like you got some new pictures up.
Yeah, we got. I don't remember what did I have the end of last year. We upgraded a little bit.
As much money as ODB might have, there's only one person that had them record a race from a blimp on this show.
Oh, brother,
that is true.
I did win a race.
That is true.
I'm also the only one on this show that is 1-0 in a race in the last year.
How do you know that I haven't raced anyone in the last year?
No one in the last year.
That's because no one will race me.
Well,
it's not my fault.
You're not. What's that matter? I'm 1-0.
Fine.
You are what your record says.
I'm literally racing someone tomorrow at the gym. I don't care what you say. I'll record it if I have to. I'm sending it to you. All right. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I want to make sure you guys hit it. It's a free show this week, so make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe to the channel. And let's just because we're going to talk the 13 main slate games, guys. So on DK, you got that.
They finally sent our tweet, but they didn't put old ODB on it. Come on, Jared. Get ODB some love on the tweet.
Jared, can we please help Jared out?
Should I sign out? Am I done? Am I not on the show anymore?
We got to have the cacti in the winners.
Did I get canceled?
I get canceled?
You got no love from the social media team. Canceled? I know that. I'm going to tag you.
That cactus behind you. I don't know how you could get canceled. Look at that thing. I mean, you can't cancel someone with that cactus. That thing is massive.
We got a cactus outside the backside that is so tall it goes up and then it starts bending at the ceiling because it got so tall.
I got something else that's so tall that it bends at the ceiling.
Bends at the ceiling? Yeah, I bet you do. Little workbench.
Get a score. Right. We got 90 minutes, Dan.
I can't help you. He's talking about cactuses. You're talking about your cactus. I don't know what the fuck to do.
I'm trying to find the tweet.
Very well behaved.
I'm going to tag you right now.
Dunkel, you wanted to say something? You wanted to go on record?
I was just saying I've been very well behaved these first 10, 15 minutes.
Sandbagging motherfucker. Don't let Dunkel fool you. He's going to say something. Cheap shot you, push you in the back right when he has a chance. Don't let him fool you right now. But we'll get into it. Before we do, just a reminder, NFL 15%, your monthly subscription for life, as long as you don't unsubscribe. Get in now. That promo code's going away Tuesday morning or Monday night. Whenever that game starts, it's going away. So make sure you get in now, guys. NFL 15 is the promo. We got a ton of premium stuff for you guys. Core plays, playbooks pretty much outlining the entire slate. Hoop does it for NFL. We got core plays from all of us over at Rump Your Sports. Me, Big T, we do player pools, so full player pool breakdowns, going through each position, giving you the guys that are in our player pools for each slate. Tony does the Showdown player pool as well. Tambo does his slate plan attack for Showdown, and I have a core, and we got a full playbook for all the Showdown games, the Island primetime games. So make sure you guys get in. We got all the stuff for every slate. Afternoon cores for the afternoon only, early cores for the early game only, primetime cores. We have it all. So make sure you guys check that out over there. NFL 15, sign up now. Code's going away. And Tony, the price is going up next week.
Yep. Right after week 1, Monday Night Football, price is going up.
There you go. So get in now. Also, we did the Showdown Print Factory for the Bills-Rams game a little earlier. So once we're done with this, if you haven't checked that out, go over. It's on the YouTube page. You can check that out and get the winners for tomorrow night's Showdown. So we'll get into the main slate of DraftKings games, and that's going to start with the Colts and the Texans. Colts sitting about 7-point favorites here in Houston. 45.5 is the total. Dunkel, I'll go to you first on this game. I think there's going to be some DFS plays for sure from this game, but what do you see from a betting side?
So this line, I believe, dropped in the last 24 hours to 7. This would make it, unless you want to lay 1, but this game's almost getting to that teaser area. And with the way legal markets let you do it, right, to let you money line parlay a team, move the lines yourself, which is actually even better than teasers. But need to say in this game, I think the Colts are going to be tough, right? Frank Wright never seems to open up a season in a good way. At least he hasn't been for the Colts. Obviously some new faces over there in that offense, but I just think it's a tough game to cap. I think the line is relatively sharp right now. I think maybe there was some value on Jacksonville if you don't think they're Houston, if you don't think they're a complete dumpster this year. But for me, the big thing is, I don't know what it is about Frank Wright and this Colts team. I want to say they're like 1-3 straight up, and they've been favored in all their games over the last 4 years, I believe in week 1. Something about him and his inability to get this team up and going. And again, a new face of quarterback with Ryan. Maybe he's a better suited than Wentz was, but we'll see. And what is it? There's not much to say about this Texans team. I know everybody loves Pierce, the running back, but overall, going to be a stay away spot for me. I think the line's relatively sharp where the number currently is. So if you see a little more movement either direction, there would be value in the Oppo.
All right. ODB, what do you see here in this game, whether it be from a betting side, DFS side?
Well, I'll just talk about these two teams in general. I don't really like this game from a betting standpoint, just because I think Houston might be a little frisky, but I'm really high on the Colts this year. The Colts are, I made a few preseason bets, and one of them was the Colts to win this division.
Jumping ship from last year. I like it.
I mean, I cashed out. We cashed out Tennessee last year. I mean, I'm not a slave to the Titans. I mean, I'm going to go where the value is. I got them at -110. I think they're like 170 now or something, but I still think there's value in that. If you're still looking at preseason stuff, I can't see how the Colts don't win this division. I think the Colts were a better team than Tennessee at the end of last year. I think Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz is a huge improvement. And Tennessee, I think, just got markedly worse. So I like Indianapolis overall for the year. Like you say, though, they've kind of sleptwalked through some of these games where they're supposed to win. The Jacksonvilles and the Houstons give them a little more trouble than they're supposed to. So I'm not sure I love this spot laying more than a touchdown, but I'm not really too keen on taking Houston either, because this could just be a 31-6 whitewashing. I mean, I think this Colts team could be really good. So I think the only reason that I'm even hung up on this game at all from not taking the Colts is just their history of underachieving early in the season and against bad teams. So,
I agree with you on a few points. One, I think the Colts overall for the season is definitely the lock to win this division. But two, you said it in the beginning, I think Houston will be frisky week 1, where I think a lot of these teams, they're trying to get their footing. Some of these guys haven't played during the preseason. So that's another thing that kind of worries me, because they're not really playing as much, a lot of these older vets guys. So how do they come out week 1? I think Houston, I think they're in this division. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they were number 2. Like, I don't know. I don't think Tennessee is going to be as good as they were last year. I don't think that Jacksonville is that much better than, I don't think anyone could say they're that much better than Houston. I think it's very close. So I think the Colts are the clear 1, and then the rest of this division is kind of a crapshoot to me, and I don't really know where to put people. I think everyone would just automatically put Tennessee 2. I don't think they will be 2 at the end of the year. I think one of these 2 other teams could surprise you, and I think it is Houston, just in my opinion. Tony, I'll go to you here next. Do you kind of see it similar where the Colts are kind of the class of this division and they somehow get it done?
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan, contrary to what people think, I've already taken my L on Wentz. I think Ryan is a big upgrade. I'm with ODB. I've tried to not be as stubborn the last couple of years, which has helped me, I think, as we've kind of progressed at Ron Pure and even in these slates. I think Ryan's a big upgrade. My problem, though, is kind of what you guys were saying. They start slow. I don't want to give 7 on the road either. It's just a weird spot. Like, I can't bet Houston, though. That's where I don't necessarily agree with JSU that I don't think they're second best. I think they're still fourth best, and I just don't like their guys. I mean, you got Cooks, Pierce is fine, Nico Collins. I just don't like Houston. This division sucks. It's just
to be
wrong
clear,
that,
Tony, I never said to bet Houston.
Yeah,
I just want to throw that
I know,
out there. I did not say that.
I mean, you weren't super strong on them. My point is, I don't like it. I don't like this game, though. So this is where we cut it to the 90 minutes down because we've already talked for 10 minutes and we all hate this game. So
what's funny, Tony, is you hate this game, but you know that one of the chalkiest wide receivers is going to be in this game.
I don't get it either, though. I don't think he'll be as chalky as people think.
I totally disagree.
Why?
I think he's
like,
going to
why?
be. I think at the end of the slate, he's going to be the highest owned wide. He's 5.3K. Everyone looks at him as a wide receiver one clearly.
Well, what's he going to be on? There's 13 games.
22%, 23%.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Who
nothing.
are you talking about?
Sure.
Michael Pittman.
I got disconnected. I was actually going to say I love Michael Pittman. I absolutely love Michael Pittman this year, and I love him in this game. And I don't think he would be high owned. There's so many.
He's going
options.
to be high owned for sure. It's just a matter of how much.
Yeah, he's going to be highly owned.
He's
Really?
too cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just that price point at 5.3K. I think he should be priced with AJ Brown, honestly, at 6.4. Like, he should be priced in that territory. And that's where the ownership.
I think it's just a great fade. Like, they love to run the ball. They don't throw it. Like, the Colts made me sick last year with their running style. And
yeah, but they have a good quarterback now.
Do they though?
Yeah.
The comments they were making too, I read some comments about players. Michael Pittman was one of them, saying how it's just completely different this year, how Matt Ryan is just so much different
Wentz
playing
was
with him
so
than
bad
Wentz.
last year. Like I'm
Pittman's-
the Wentz guy. He sucked.
Pittman's not going to be that high owned because everybody's got the game stacks are too. There's too
Yeah,
many.
but he's
game
like the
stack
filler
spots.
and he's the cash play. Like
He's
I
the
think
one that everyone's going to be able to plug in with
Is
their
he?
stack. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, but
Yeah.
again, on this show, like I don't think we need to worry about ownership that much. Like with these
Yeah,
guys,
it's
I
a
mean, even if
13-game
he's
slate.
20%, like it's not like 20%'s crazy. But
Pittman's
I'm
a
not going to be
smash.
on him though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
don't
on
think I'll be on him either, but
He was one of the first guys I was like, oh, I got to get him in. I love Pittman this year.
If you could
just in
somehow
general.
get Houston to go up like 2 touchdowns early, which it could happen, it's week 1. Like he would be the best play for sure. I'm just worried that they just run the ball.
see, Tony's like pretty much saying he wishes he liked Davis Mills and Brandon Cooks, like, because then he
You're
probably
not-
like
I just can't do it.
You're not
You just
gonna.
can't.
You're not gonna put. They're not gonna bring it. They're gonna let Matt Ryan throw the ball to start the season. They're not.
It's
They're
a
not
good
gonna,
play if you
they're
think
not-
they're going to chuck it.
They're not gonna put. They're not gonna give Taylor 30 carries against Houston. They're just.
Yeah.
They're gonna feature their new. They're gonna feature their new quarterback, and they're gonna throw the ball, and Taylor's gonna get 16 rushes and whatever.
yeah. I
Pittman's-
think you'll see like an
Pittman's solid.
even split. Yeah.
I mean, I
don't
think
it's crazy.
Pierce is the one that's going to be highly owned in this game.
You think Alec Pierce is going to get that much ownership?
No,
I'm not
Damian
seeing that.
Pierce he's talking about.
Damian.
Damian Pierce. Sorry, Damian Pierce.
He's 4.8, and he's the only every down back that's not.
But ODB, like there's too many cheap receivers. Like the cheap running backs aren't going to be chalky. It's just you can't. So if you think it's like Pittman and Pierce could be a good mini stack.
Well, that's what I have in my lineup
Yeah.
that I have right now, Bill.
I think you'll be shocked at how low owned Pierce is.
All right. Well, I mean, I have Pierce and Pittman right now on my team, so that's fine with me.
I do like that idea because if it scores, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
I
This
think
is why we
all
go
right.
so freaking long, though. I just want to point it out to all.
We're on one game?
like, we're 15 minutes in, and all we've talked about is Colts Houston.
I was going to
literally
say,
the worst game on the board.
Like,
the host
We
has to take it-
spent 10 minutes going through friggin' promos and
and
getting
then
through
another 10
everybody.
minutes
Like,
talking about this dust bucket game.
all right,
It's
we'll
true.
move on from this game. All right,
Oh,
everyone's on the Colts. Tony
Thank you.
doesn't like it.
I'm not on the Colts. I just can't do it.
Pick the Texans.
Well, I don't like Houston. I just don't
Yeah.
like the game. I just
All
don't.
right.
If I had to
All
pick,
right.
I would take the Colts, though. I wouldn't take Houston.
All right, fair. Let's move on. Ravens, Jets. This could be another game where we possibly move on quickly. Ravens again here. Road road favorites here, -7, 44.5 is the total for the Ravens. ODB, I'll come to you first on this game. Is there anything you see here?
No, I mean, I'll back the Ravens if anything. I mean, Joe Flacco and the Jets, no thank you. But I don't really like this game. I mean, Baltimore is a team that kind of beats up on these bad teams. So unlike the Colts, the Colts actually have a style that you would think would just run it up against these bad teams. They've traditionally not. The Ravens are the exact opposite. The Ravens, I feel like they just smash the bad teams and the good teams give them problems. Whereas, like, I even trust the Colts more versus a good team than the Ravens. The Ravens just have a style that just kind of crushes these undermanned units. So I would like Ravens if anything. I think you can definitely look at Lamar and Andrews or Lamar and Bateman. I mean, in DFS if you want, but I mean, I don't really have too much interest in this game at anything.
Yeah, the Ravens for a long time have had that like aggressive style defensively. They're just like an aggressive team. They can pound people when they get up. They just really put it on them. Tony, anything, or is this a quick Ravens and pass type thing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, first two games we got 7-point spreads, which we've talked about the Wongs all of last year. They crushed all of last year. We made a bunch of money for the people that tailed them. Both these games are 7, though, and I've cautioned the entire time I've talked about these. 7s are tricky because, like the uncle said, you're wasting points in your teasers unless you can just money line them. But I still don't. I don't know. Both these teams are road teams. The one thing we got to remember about week 1, me included, they're going to play sloppier than we think. It happens every single year. We always expect them to come out smooth. 7-point road dogs worry me a little bit, but how do you take the Jets? How do you take Houston is the tough part. So I feel basically exactly in this game how I felt about the last game. It would be Baltimore or pass, but man, do I really want to lay 7 on the road week 1 with a team I don't love? I don't love Baltimore, so I think it's just a pass for me. In DFS, it's an even easier fade than the last game for me. Just nothing here.
Even if J.K. Dobbins would be out, Tony, like if Dobbins is out, no.
I just
Gus
don't
Edwards
think you're
already.
going to play cheap running backs this week, though. Where
Okay.
I mean, you could for like in tournaments go cheap or go up at receiver, but man, there's
I'm
so
just
many
asking,
cheap
like, would
receivers.
Mike Davis or Kenyon
Oof.
Drake, or would any of those
Oh.
guys be kind of in consideration?
Those are the
for
two
you at all?
backups. Yeah, those two. Like, no way I'm playing those two guys. Talk about dust buckets.
Yeah. All right. Dunkel.
I
any
think
Joe
OD.
Flacco
I
love?
said I was 1-0 in my race in the last year. I'd be 2-0 if I faced Mike Davis.
Dude, Mike Davis would smoke your ass, Tony. He would. His big ass would go right by you. Dunkel, who do you have in a race? Tony or Mike Davis? Be honest.
Mike Davis by a few steps.
What about from the blimp view?
Well, you guys looked like ants. I mean, like that was easily a few stacks to get that video going.
Yeah.
What do you got here, Dunkel? Flacco love? And any Flacco love?
No, I'm a Mike White homer. So I'm hoping he sees some playing time. But it's kind of crazy to think. I mean, I don't have any strong opinions on this game relatively and with the spread what it is, but crazy to think, right? The Colts and the Ravens here. It's a coin flip that one of them loses. Just kind of crazy.
Yeah, you're right. I'm with all you guys on this game. I just no interest in DFS. Don't want to mess with the betting. Who the heck knows? It's week 1, so I'm with Tony on that. Jaguars and the Washington Commanders. What'd you call them? ODB in the pre-show? Commodores. Commodores. I might call them the Commodores from now on because they're always the Redskins to me. But we'll call them the Commodores for right now. Tony, I'm coming to you first on this one because you are the Washington Commodores' biggest fan, right? With Carson Wentz at quarterback this year. So give me the take on Wentz against Trevor Lawrence.
So we got our first really good Wong game too, because you got Washington 2.5. I'm a little bit higher on Jacksonville than the field. I think they will take. I mean, last year, I don't want to go down this angle because JSU will start talking about it forever. But they had the Urban Meyer fiasco. They just have to be in better shape with Travis Etienne a little bit healthy this year. Tease it 2.5 to 8.5. Freaking love getting Jacksonville plus 8.5 versus this Washington team. So definitely my first teaser of the week. And I kind of like Jacksonville a little bit as far as just the betting number. When you look at DFS stuff, I don't know. You're not going to really want to go to 44 total. You look at the pieces. I do think Travis Etienne is going to be very low owned, and he's the type of guy that can take a screen to the house, can take a little dump off to the house, can break a tackle to the house. I think he's going to be a guy that 3 or 4 weeks this year, he's going to put up monster games just because of how explosive he is. So I like him. Christian Kirk, I think, will have some big games. They just got a better roster than they had last year. Some of these guys are – even Evan Ingram has always been a guy that's let us down. But who'd they have last year at tight end? Just total dusty dudes. So I don't know. Evan Ingram has to be an upgrade to them, to whoever the dude is they had last year. I don't even remember what the guy's name was.
Was it James O'Shaughnessy?
Yeah, like those guys. I mean, just straight garbage. So I think they're going to be way better. Trevor Lawrence sucked last year, but I have a feeling he'll take a big leap this year. And then you look at the Washington side. I mean, Antonio Gibson was clearly played out of a job early, and then the dude had the shooting incident where Antonio Gibson comes right back into play because the other dude's out. So I don't know, though. Do I really want to play Antonio Gibson? Probably not, but his price tag is pretty good, $5,800. I can't imagine playing anyone else from Washington, though. So he would be my only guy from Washington. Not a ton DFS wise, though, that I'm in love with. My favorite part of the game for sure is Jacksonville and teasers plus 8.5.
I just want to note, did everyone see what Tony did saying, I don't want to get JSU on a tangent, but then went into the tangent part of it, just kind of stoking the fire a little bit as he talks about Jacksonville. No, you didn't have to say anything about it. You could have just talked about Jacksonville. Well, that's
because I saw before the show you were fondling your balls talking about Jacksonville from last year.
The chat started it. Don't blame it on me. The chat started it. I just finished.
You went in there and you were like, "Oh, you mean the guy that was there for only 14 weeks?" And I said that 13, he wouldn't make it through the year. And you were. Did you peel one out before the show? Thinking back on it.
If people don't know, Doug Peterson is now the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had a new head coach. I think they got a new OC, a new defensive coordinator. So this is a completely different coaching staff than it was last year. And I'm kind of with Tony that I think that they have some interesting pieces. Now for DFS, I'm a lot higher than you on one of them. Actually, I'm with you on Travis Etienne, but Christian Kirk, I think, is one of the best pivots off of Michael Pittman in that like 5K range of wide receivers. That dude is going to be a target monster, I think, in this offense. And remember, it's kind of a little more condensed. They got rid of Laviska Shenault. Zay Jones is going to be one of their top receivers, and they still have Marvin Jones, but he's a lot older. I think they brought Christian Kirk in. They paid him. I think you're going to see a lot of targets. He's going to be one of those receivers that he's going to end up being like 6,500 in like 3 weeks, and he's going to be averaging 8 targets a game. Just every game, he's going to be getting short pass, and racking them up, and Travis Etienne too. So for DFS, I like both those guys a ton, and I think Christian Kirk is a really good pivot in that 5K range.
We don't usually play quarterbacks too, but I could see a little 3-man there with Lawrence, Etienne, and Kirk, because Etienne could catch a screen and go to the house easy.
I just wish Washington had one dude I could be like, I feel confident in playing him, and I just don't see it. I mean, I guess they could just plug in Terry McLaurin and just hope,
Mr. Wentz, maybe he'll come through. Call him Millie Wentz.
Are you going to play Carson Wentz? Did we get you?
I don't know if you can get me on that one, but
ODB, I tried. Give us your take on this game. I tried to get him to commit to Wentz.
All right. I just want we've had a lot of Wentz teasing for the last year. Can you just go on record right now and say that Wentz is not the fourth best quarterback in the league anymore?
And first of all, I did not say he was the best.
Yes, you did. I have.
I said he was top 5.
Yeah, I can. Okay, top 5. That's 4.
Yeah,
Right,
he's no longer. I'll go on record. He is no longer top 5 quarterback in football.
All right. So I kind of, for the first few days when I was thinking about this game, I was thinking I like Jacksonville. It was 3.5, and now now it's 2.5, and I'm really going to get less than a field goal on the road with Lawrence and their first game. I don't know what. I don't think Washington's good, but I mean their win total is 8, and they're laying less than a field goal to a lower win total team. I think this might just be like an overcorrection to the hatred for Rivera and Wentz and Schneider and the name and everything. And I think people want Lawrence to be good. And I mean, we're just going to get excited about freaking Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. I mean, Christian Kirk had Kyler Murray throwing to him for the last couple of years, still never did shit. Like just because
Kyler Murray's a worse quarterback than Dunkel.
Wait a second. Trevor Lawrence was like the best graded quarterback to come out of the draft since like Andrew Luck.
I understand, but I mean, we're still looking at.
We stroked JSU for. I'd like to point out that he picked Kyler Murray to win MVP last year after we stroked him. I would like an L from JSU to come back in after my.
I'll come back in. Let me just come back in real quick because I did say the first show we did Kyler Murray for MVP, and I did say they were going to win the division. I was wrong on both accounts. I will take my L on Kyler Murray. There you go, Tony.
I mean, they had to put stuff in his contract from the dude playing video games more than watching film.
I wish I knew the video game thing. I would have said he would have been the best quarterback for the first 8 weeks of the season. How did I know he plays COD all friggin' day and all night? Never again.
I can't really see taking Jacksonville less than a field goal here. I really just kind of think this is an overcorrection to what people want to happen. I mean, everybody hates Wentz, everybody hates Rivera, everybody hates Daniel Snyder, everybody hates this new name. I don't know. I mean, these teams, I don't know. I think I'm flipping to Washington. I like Jacksonville originally, but I think
you're selling me.
I think I'm flipping to Washington.
That's what's great about this show. You're selling me on it, but this is a perfect spot, like we talked about all last year. Tease Jacksonville and bet Washington money line. You got a nice hedge where Washington wins by 3-7. You got multiple angles looking good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this game kind of on a survivor standpoint. I'm considering gambling on this game from Washington. I can't see a spot where I'm going to want to use them the rest of the year. And you can take a very low owned team and not have to waste anybody. Not a small survivor, but like if you're in huge ones where you need a lot to go right and you need to save teams, like kind of like the Circa. I'm considering throwing a couple of bones on Washington and that one. But I don't love this game by any means. Like I said, if I liked Washington earlier in the week, I think I'd like them more now. But I kind of like Jacksonville, and I'm kind of feeling like I'm coming off of it. So I don't know what I'm going to feel in 24 to 48 hours, but I'm kind of leaning towards Washington.
All right, leaning towards Washington. Dunkel, where are you at here? Jacksonville, Washington side. What do you got?
Yeah, strong lean towards Washington. Carson Wentz, still a top 5 quarterback, Tony. Don't worry. You get a little bit of a marriage rekindling here with Wentz and Peterson on the other side. But needless to say, I'm not a huge Peterson guy. I think the best year coaching he had of his career was when Frank Wright was running the offense and when Carson Wentz was like unanimous MVP the first 13 weeks of the year, 12 weeks of the year before Nick Foles took over after his injury. With that said, I agree with ODB. Like, who's Jacksonville to have this type of spread in this spot, especially moving through the 3? Strongly in Washington. I don't know what it would take for me to bet Washington. I guess it would have to go down even further, but not much more, I guess. But yeah, definitely prefer the Washington situation here versus the Jacksonville one. And it's hard not to be higher on Jacksonville, right? I mean, they should have a better year this year than last. However, this line just seems like too much respect for them in this spot. So strongly in Washington.
All right. So we got some Washington love on the show, guys. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, that red box in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's move on, though, from this game. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big T's Cincinnati Bengals here. Bengals are at home, -6.5. All right. They didn't get it done in the Super Bowl, Big T, but you called them going to the Super Bowl when we did all those playoff shows. You called them getting there. You called them losing. Now we get their first game back after the Super Bowl. They go against their division rival. Who you got here in this game?
Yeah, so those of you that didn't watch, I did that show with Ryan Harris, Super Bowl winning Ryan Harris yesterday, a short piece. He got me excited because one of his strong takes was the Bengals are going to be very good up front this year. I can promise you one thing. If they're good up front, they're going to put it hurting on some teams. I can promise you that. So I didn't love it before my conversation with him, but he sold me on it, and it's not a hard sell for sure because I think this Bengals team is absolutely loaded. Jamar Chase might be the best receiver in football, just an absolute stud. T. Higgins is a stud. Boyd's a nice 3. Mixon's a good running back. So much talent. Pittsburgh has a horrible line up front, just like last year. The number's short because it's a division game, and Pittsburgh's always played Cincinnati tough, but I think Cincinnati's just too good for them. I love that it's less than 6.5. I'm going to pound Cincinnati. I think Joe Mixon is a very, very sneaky play this week. He's going to get some ownership, but if Ryan Harris was right, which, I mean, the dude knows what it takes to win in the trenches, Joe Mixon, man, I think he could have a big, big week. And, yeah, Burrow, Chase, Higgins, I'm going to have interest in basically every week. I mean, I can't really think of spot outside of bad weather where I wouldn't have interest in that stack. So, yes, very into Cincinnati. I want to bet Cincinnati. Pittsburgh side's where it gets a little trickier with the run back. I'm not going to ever play Najee Harris just because I talked about it. The line sucks. I didn't play him all of last year. I'm not going to play him this year unless something changes. So we need a receiver. I guess we take a chance on George Pickens at 4,100. He looks like a stud. I loved him last year in college. He was hurt, but you could just see he's a stud. He's looked like a stud in the preseason. 4,100 for him feels like stealing. Deontay, I think he gets a big downgrade this year without Ben, actually. But a lot of people will say he gets an upgrade because Ben was bad, but Ben threw so many dump-offs to this guy. I just don't see how he could be better with anybody at quarterback because Ben just dumped it to him every time. So for me, I'm all about the Bengals. I'm all about mixing this week. And I guess my run backs would be Pickens 1, Claypool 2, Deontay 3, but I don't think I'll play Deontay at 6K.
Yeah, Tony, I love that little video that you guys did together, and he affirmed what I thought was going to be a top 3 offensive line, and I think they will be a top 3 offensive line.
In all football, you guys got them that good? Oh, man.
Yeah,
you guys
so
are
they added 3 offensive linemen. I'll just go through them real quick. Ted Karras, I'm pretty sure he's a center. I'm pretty sure he played for the Patriots. They had Alex Kappa, guard, played for the Bucs, and then Lael Collins, who I think you guys remember, he was with the Cowboys. I don't know if he played for them last year, but I know he played with the Cowboys. These are all 3 very good offensive linemen, and with those teams. And this is going to like last year, what was the whole thing throughout the playoffs? Like, if they can keep Joey B up, like that's what everyone was saying in that Super Bowl. That was like their biggest thing was the offensive line. Everyone was worried about it because of the game before when he was taking all those hits. Well, they shored this thing up like crazy. This offensive line is going to be really good. And Joe Mixon, I'm 100% with you. I think this is Joe Mixon game written all over it. I think he gets 2 touchdowns in this game, has over 100 yards. I think they're going to win by 3 touchdowns easily in this game. So I love Cincinnati, but I really love the run game in this game. I'm probably not going to play Joey B or any of his receivers.
When Ryan Harris brought up TJ Watt and these guys, and he wasn't even remotely concerned about it, that's when my confidence went to an all-time high.
He did. Yeah. He said their names and he was just like, yeah, just like, yeah. Oh, TJ Watt. Just, yeah, another guy.
Wasn't worried even remotely.
Yeah. ODB, what do you got here in this game? What do you think?
Well, I'm glad to hear where you guys are because this is my favorite game of the week. The Bengals are my favorite.
Baby.
The Bengals are my favorite play of the
Woo-hoo-hoo.
week. From a betting standpoint, I was on a show the other night on Visson, and I talked about this game and as my favorite play. The Bengals beat the Steelers last year 44-10 and 24-10, just drubbed them both times. People seem to think that the Bengals were very fluky last year, but all I'm looking at is probably the most determined quarterback we've ever seen since Brady and Burrow, and that guy doesn't take losing well. They haven't been home since the Raiders game. They won both their playoff games on the road after that Raiders game. I think the crowd's fired up to give this team a nice thank you from their Super Bowl. I still think they kind of feel like Pittsburgh gets more media attention, more the big brother, and chance to kick the big brother down. You got Mitch Trubisky in his first game as the Steelers quarterback, which I think Mitch is going to be okay. I think he's going to be fine, but this is still his first game. I mean, he played a little bit in the preseason, but they had to still look at Rudolph and Pickett. So it's not like he's totally familiar with this scheme and everything. And I think the Bengals come back completely the same, except for a much better offensive line, which is really the only issue we ever had last year anyways with them. So I'm all in on the Bengals this week, and I do like them for the year. So I'll be loaded on the Bengals. I don't know from a DFS standpoint. I hate playing Bengals in DFS because there's just so much. They're all expensive, and anybody can get it done. Plus, Joey B is kind of like, I mean, he's got the Uzama games and the Boyd games, and there's just so much there. I'm just going to hope that they score a bunch and it's spread out and not one of them kills me, going against them in DFS. But I'm all in on the Bengals this week.
Love it. Dunkel, you going to make it 4 for 4 here with the Bengals? Or are you going to, pull the old fake switch move here and go on the other side?
Don't you do it, Dunkel.
Yeah, so indifferent to the line. I will say this, Joe Burrow, since like week 9 or 10 of last year, has been absolutely unreal. I mean, I think people forget that he kind of like limped back into the season last year off that injury. But by week 9 or 10, I forgot the exact numbers, but just an unbelievable numbers from him from that point forward. And of course, their playoff run as well. Their offensive line saw improvements. My only concern here is if there was a time this offensive line was going to struggle, if it was going to be against a good front like this, and it's going to be in the first time they play together, some continuity issues with this offensive line, a lot of new faces on it. But with that said, they should be able to keep him more upright than he was last year. It was nice to see Burrow just really gearing in and taking a bunch of sacks last year, almost some of them on purpose. When that play clock was going, when the game clock was going down and down, because it's proven that he's healthy again. And I think that goes to your point on how being bullish on them this year makes a lot of sense. I just think this is a spot where the number feels very big. But I do think, for me, if you're going to bet Pittsburgh, I'd prefer you just bet the under because it's likely that the defense holds Cincinnati back a bit. It's hard to imagine Trubisky taking this offense, scoring, 20 plus in this spot. But we'll see. I do like Pickett as well. I'm hoping he sees snaps sooner rather than later. But yeah, indifferent to the game at the current line.
Let's remember this Steelers team was the same team that gave up the most rushing yards per game, I'm pretty sure. So this defense, even though they have good players up front, a lot of them are pass rushers and guys that play the pass well. They don't necessarily play the run game as well. And I think that's one thing that will continue to hurt them this year. But we'll move on to the next game because we talked enough about them. We got the Saints and the Falcons. Saints are the favorites here. Another road favorite, -5.5 here for the Saints against the Atlanta Falcons. I know there was a little bit of news on the Falcon side. Drake London, they said they'll give his confirmation on if he will play or not by Saturday, I think it was, or something like that. So stay tuned for that news on Drake London, their rookie wide receiver. But, we got Jameis against Marcus Mariota here, boys. Dunkel, I'll just go right back to you here. What do you got in this game?
Yeah, it's a tough spot for me. I don't want to lay this number with the Saints and Winston, a guy who's notorious for turning the ball over constantly. However, it is very tough to trust this Falcons team. I mean, Marcus Mariota's getting his chance to be a starter, 6 years after he was a regular starter in the league. So I think it's tough. He's looked serviceable when he's been in there, though, especially a bit for Tennessee. But with this line, with what it is, I think it's really tough to warrant anything to love. I know Kyle Pitts should have a big year and should take another step forward. Saints team's interesting, right? You got Mike Thomas going like the 5th round of best ball. And this dude is the bona fide number 1 receiver in the league a few years back. So does he kind of turn back to the way he was? Because if he does, I mean, him and Winston could have quite a season together, especially with Peyton's still there, right?
No,
Oh, that's right,
Peyton's
he's
not
gone.
there. Dennis Allen's a coach now.
So I mean, Allen's more of a defensive guy. I know he was with Vegas for a bit, or I guess Oakland.
Yeah. He was the D coordinator there last year.
Yeah, so interested to see how this team ends up progressing, but I do think it's a big number for a first game on the road. But I know so many people are so low on the Falcons this year. But either way, with the line currently what it is at 5.5, I'd have it fair, and I'll stay away.
All right, ODB, what do you got in this game?
Not much from the spread standpoint. I mean, I probably lean Saints if anything, but I don't really like it. I am high on the Saints for the year. I do think they're a little underrated in the markets. So I kind of like the Saints just in general. Not a whole lot to love on Atlanta, just anywhere. I think they're in the tanking mode, rebuilding. I do think Kamara is kind of cheap, and he's in a dome, and I think he's pretty game script neutral. So I don't think it really matters. I mean, if they fall behind, great. He catches balls. If he gets up, he's still going to get the ball around the goal line. And I mean, I'm not worried about Mark Ingram stealing anything from him. So I like Kamara. I think he's pretty cheap. I think he's in the, what's he like, 6,100 or something like that? No, 7,600.
Yeah, I know on FanDuel he's 8,500. On DraftKings, can't remember his price off the top, but he's 76. Okay.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of good running backs, early in the season because everybody has a role. Nobody's hurt yet. But I mean, I like Kamara. So, I mean, he'll be in my pool of consideration for one of the RB flex spots. So that's all I really like from this game. I don't love the game, but I am high on the Saints for the year. So I guess I probably should like them in the game, but I don't know. Seems like a lot on the road.
Fair enough. Tony, I know ODB said he's kind of high on the Saints for the year. I'm kind of high on the Saints for the year, honestly. I kind of like them. I'll go into that in a sec, but what do you got here in this game?
Yeah, so we all stroked each other off about our Bengals. We got definitely our first disagreement here. I think the Saints are not good. I think the Falcons are the most underrated team in football. I actually am very high on the Falcons. I like their young guys. I like what they're doing. I wish they would start the dude from Cincy instead of Mariota, but I'm okay with that.
Ritter.
Yeah, Ritter. I wish they'd start Ritter. I think he is a good fit, but I like these guys. Drake London's a beast. Pitts is a beast. Damian Williams, I've always kind of been a fan for. I just like this team. I think they're very underrated. And in the NFC this year, I think the NFC is wide open. I actually like a few weird teams in the NFC this year, which I'm going to target a lot in fantasy. And I don't know about this game from fantasy-wise because New Orleans does have a good defense. I won't be hot, but betting-wise, I think Atlanta's going to win this game outright. I think the Saints suck, and I can't wait to take advantage of this. People that last year everyone loved the Saints all year. They never did anything. I know Jameis is back. Michael Thomas will be back for a week before he gets a headache or has a panic attack or something, and he'll be gone soon enough. So I just Jarvis Landry. I mean, this team is so freaking dusty. I can't wait for the Falcons to win out.
Well, I mean, the difference is on both lines. I mean, the Falcons line players, I don't think they're very strong on the lines.
I agree with you there.
The Saints are good on the lines. And I mean, yeah. Landry's dusty, but he's, basically the fourth option. I mean, Olave, Thomas, and Kamara. I mean,
I agree with all
if your fourth option is Dusty Landry, that's not the worst thing. I mean, last year their receivers were Callaway, whatever number.
I mean,
10,
it was worse last year for sure.
Taysom Hill and Ian Book. I mean, it's not, it's we kind of, they might be dusty, but I agree
with all the stuff
they're not last year. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, I think Atlanta's going to have a couple good weeks, mainly just because their defense sucks and because they've got some young guys who, can beast people. But I don't necessarily think that makes them a good football team. I think there could be some very sneaky fantasy plays. I do agree that I don't think it's against the Saints because just the line play. But I definitely could see them in some shootouts. I would love to stack them versus the Lions or something, a team with equally poor line play. I think that's the teams that they could succeed against, but teams like Tampa and the Saints and things like that, I think they might struggle, but
yeah.
That's fair enough. I mean, I definitely completely disagree with Tony on this.
Good.
Atlanta and New Orleans, they're just two different teams. Atlanta was terrible last year. I think they gave up the most points per game last year. They were terrible against the run. They're just not good in general. And then they've got the Mariota Ritter thing where, in my opinion, Ritter kind of looked pretty good in preseason and good enough to where I was actually surprised they didn't let him start. And I think there's going to be a little battle here. Let's just say Mariota does start off a little slow or on the slower end. There might be a push to get him in earlier, and that can always throw a team when, maybe some players think that one quarterback should start. So you don't know what's going on, obviously, but I do think that could be an issue for this team. And overall, I just don't see the skill on this team. I think the defense for the Saints is clearly better. I think the Saints have a very good defense, actually. Solid line play. Kamara, Jameis is better right now than Marcus Mariota, in my opinion. And you left out Chris Olave, their stud rookie wide receiver, who I think fits perfectly with Jameis. I don't like Jarvis Landry. I don't like Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas fits the worst with Jameis because Michael Thomas ate with Drew Brees in his noodle arm, just short pass, dink and dunk. That's not what Jameis wants to do. He wants to chuck it. He wants to go deep. He wants to set those plays up, and that's Chris Olave. So if there's anyone I'm going to play, it's Chris Olave from the Saints side. I think he's interesting in DFS, and I could obviously play Kyle Pitts on the other side, but that's pretty much it from the game. And Kamara, obviously, I agree with ODB on him. He's just game script dependent. He can run, pass. It doesn't matter. He can get it done. So I'm on the Saints big here. I think the Saints actually win the division too. I don't like Tampa this year. I'm off Tampa. They're big favorites to win the division. I like the Saints here. Tony, you like the Falcons to win the division?
Yep.
ODB, who do you got winning the division?
I mean, without odds, I would say Tampa, but I mean,
yeah, okay. If you're gonna bet it, if you're gonna bet it.
But for price, I think the Saints have a puncher's chance. I'm not big on Tampa this year. I think it's definitely could be a house of cards there. I mean, with this Tampa team, so I'd be looking just at the value of the Saints in the division. I think Atlanta's dusty. Honestly, I mean, I think they can be feisty like the Lions were feisty last year and win 3 or 4 games and be in a lot of them. But at the end of the day, line play wins. And yeah, I mean, we're excited about Pitts and London, but I mean, let's be honest, like when those are great guys to have as your 2 or 3 or whatever. But I mean, Olave and London are like similar, and Olave is like the 3rd or 4th option, and London's supposed to be at 1A, 1B. So I mean, from a skill position,
is the 3rd or 4th. Who's the dude?
Well, I mean,
ahead of
Kamara and Thomas are 1, 2. I mean, we don't know where Landry's gonna.
I'm with Tony on Thomas. He's gonna have a headache.
He's gonna
take an ankle injury.
He's got anxiety.
Yeah, well,
him and frickin' the tennis lady are gonna go hang out and console each other.
Tennis lady,
get a heart.
Am I allowed to go down this path week 1?
This is mental health week.
Oh boy, here we go. Now we will get canceled.
Game before I get in trouble.
Dunkel, did you have a take on who wins the division here before we move on?
I just want to say I don't even know what tennis player Tony's referencing there. So just referencing.
Someone in the chat.
Plead the fifth. No, nothing. Overall, I think it'd be tough to imagine Tampa losing this division, right? But, of course.
Tampa's going to suck.
I'm with Tony. I don't like Tampa.
Tom Brady's
really
late. Tom
don't.
Brady's going to be with Michael Thomas and in Osaka when the wife leaves him.
I was
They're
going to
gonna all
say
be
either
hanging out
that or the
together.
wife's going to be gone if he's not. Like, it's going to be
They're all
tough
going to be
sledding.
hanging out in combo with ODB at the next to the cactus.
Let's go.
All right, let's go on to the next game here. Don't forget, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We got Cleveland Browns and the Carolina Panthers here. Carolina is at home, and they are favorites here. -1.5 is the line. 42 is the total. Obviously, we got a little change in scenery here for Baker Mayfield. He is no longer with the Browns. He's with Carolina on the other side of this game, and the Browns will be without Watson, obviously. So their starting quarterback will be Jacoby Brissett. So we got Brissett versus Mayfield here. A battle. ODB, who do we got here in this battle?
And two dusty ass teams, I think. This is just choose your narrative. Baker gets his revenge, or the team that didn't really stand by Baker, doesn't like him, blitzes him and smashes him. You just choose whatever you want. I probably would lean towards Carolina just because they're home, and Brissett is just extra dusty. That guy's ass cheeks galore.
He's got to be the worst, right? There can't be someone worse.
Tony,
than him.
I would bet you against him in a race. I would take you against him in a race.
I don't not really understand what Cleveland's doing. They went all in on Watson. They went all in on this year. This team has the defense to compete. They have the running backs. They got the line. They got everything. And I don't understand why they just didn't throw a little something at somebody a little better than Brissett. They had to know this was coming. It just doesn't make any sense to me with Mariota and Garoppolo and Trubisky. All these retreads put Brissett to shame. Brissett is literally not even in the top 40 quarterbacks in the league. So I don't understand how this team that has playoff aspirations is, they basically have a Super Bowl contending team and literally going to put the worst quarterback in the NFL out there. It just doesn't make any sense.
And they're going to be paying for Baker to come beat them.
Yeah, it just none of it makes sense.
Not that Baker's good, but he's better than Jacoby.
They could be paying for it.
Yeah, so I lean Carolina because they have a better quarterback, but whatever. These are two dusty ass teams. It's probably going to be something like 16-13. I want no part of DFS. That's all I got on this game.
All right, so you'll be fading CMC. He'll be popular for sure. Everyone's going to want to get a piece of Christian McCaffrey here. Uncle Dunkle, what do we got here in this game? You got Baker getting his revenge?
I think it's a good T spot, actually, taking the Browns up to 7.5. I'm not that I'm against Baker. I think the dude every year seems to take too many sacks and then break down at the end of the year. And then, apparently it's the organization's fault for why they don't want him anymore. As for Brissett, I don't know what the Jacoby Brissett hate's coming from.
Oh no, you're not going to defend Jacoby.
No. But he's been proven to be at least somewhat serviceable. There are definitely worse quarterbacks than Brissett that have taken.
Stop. If we were on StreamYard, you'd have to get a timeout right
now. But look, overall, I think this is a lot of respect given to Carolina in this spot. And I'm a Stefanski guy. I think he'll figure it out in Cleveland. I know that this team is definitely lacking talent for sure, definitely at quarterback. If they can just make it by before Watson gets back, this team could potentially have playoff potential. But again, that's more of trust for Stefanski. I like him as a head coach. I thought he was great with Minnesota. He's been great since he's been here. And I think he'll figure out a way to make this team relevant week to week. But with that said, in this spot, I teased Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Dunkel just outed himself as a Jacoby Brissett truther. I'm with you there. The only thing I will say that is different, like big difference for Baker going from one of the best offensive lines in football to literally one very, very subpar offensive line at best in Carolina to maybe one of the bottom 10 offensive line. So that is definitely a big downgrade. That's one thing Jacoby gets is he gets one of the better offensive lines.
Though.
But
I think Baker, he gets the big downgrade. I do agree with that. But
he's better. But
he also gets McCaffrey, who's a pass catching guy, DJ Moore, who's way better than anyone he had. I think don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Baker either, but he's at least got. He's got better weapons than he. Because Chubb's good, but he's not a pass catcher. It doesn't really help Baker. I don't know.
No, yeah, Chubb is not the pass catcher to save him. That's for sure. It's a good point.
Yeah, King
I like
Reed.
Carolina.
Jacoby's a great backup. I agree with you, King Reed. He's just not a starter. If you need Jacoby's the perfect guy. If you have your starter hurt week 17 and you need a win 1 week, sure. But to start him week 1, you got some issues.
Yeah, they're going to be starting him for more than week 1, Tony. They're going to be starting him for, 12 games, 11 games, whatever. It is very interesting that the first game back for Watson is against his old team, but we don't need to go down that path because I'm just throwing that one out there. So let's move on because this game's
McCaffrey's definitely the best play of the slate too. He just, I'm not saying he's my best play of the slate. Just looking at the numbers, the projections, he's the best play of the slate.
Do you think that they actually use him like old McCaffrey though?
Yeah.
You think that they just run him out there?
Maybe not. He was getting absurd usage, but
yeah.
That was when he was 11K too. He's 8,500. So
no, but I'm asking you, do you think they give him close to
I think he gets good usage. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And like you said, the line sucks. So I think he's going to catch 10 dump offs like he always does.
Oh no. Yeah, it does. It does. You're right there. Anyone else got to take on CMC? Dunkel, you sandbagger over there. What are you doing with CMC? I know you're playing.
I'm in one season long. He's on my roster.
Oh, stop it, Dunkel. Come on. Jesus. If you bring up season long on this show one more time, I'm going to cancel you from the show.
Out.
That's it.
I'm not. I can tell you, I will not have CMC in my lineup.
I like that conviction.
I'm not playing. There's a lot of high offense spots around football this week, and I'm not going to play versus one of the best defenses, great defensive line. I'm not putting an $8,500 player. I know he's burned me a lot. I haven't really been on the CMC train a lot, but I will not be paying for CMC this week. I don't think Carolina scores 20 points, and I'm not playing a running back from a team that I don't think is going to score 20 points when there's guys like Eckler and Jones and other guys in there in better spots. So
honestly, I'm leaning that way too right now. So we'll see. We'll see about that, but I'm leaning no CMC. Tony, you kind of like Dunkel, you won't even give an answer. I can't even get an answer from Dunkel on if he's playing CMC.
Let me ask you this: out of them three, who's higher on this week? McCaffrey, Henry, or Taylor?
Well, McCaffrey by far.
Yeah.
On DraftKings, not even close. It's McCaffrey.
Yeah. So
on FanDuel, it might be closer. But see, the problem is that everyone is just so gung-ho on McCaffrey this year. Everyone thinks he's just going to be the number one guy in fantasy again. So there's no cup on this slate.
I still don't think you need to worry about ownership this week, though. None of these guys are going to be 35% or something. So
no, because there's too many of them. Yeah, I agree with you there. There's just too many guys.
You need to pay up for somebody as well. I'm just trying to leverage it against the field because if he is 30% owned, then I'd probably rather play guys less owned.
Here's the problem, though. I don't really like the other spend. I don't really love Henry or JT as much either.
That's why you're going to end up playing McCaffrey.
That's the problem. Is
I
don't really
Kamara or Eckler against.
Oh
McCaffrey.
God!
I'm not on Eckler, but I like Kamara a little bit with you. So
I'm just saying I'm gonna. It's a better offensive environment in the dome.
What do you not like about Kamara, Tony?
The Saints are awful.
But what do you not like about Kamara? If you think they're bad, he's going to get dump offs.
Bad defense.
I can play McCaffrey for 900 more.
Yeah, I'll take Kamara. I'll take Kamara even up versus McCaffrey this week.
all
Most
in.
fantasy points.
I don't want to go against you, but I want to go.
I'm just
I'd
saying,
go all.
that's-
If it was anyone but you, I'd go all in on that.
How about
guy.
Eckler? You don't like Eckler more than
I like
McCaffrey?
Eckler. I like all those guys more than Kamara. Everyone. I mean, not gonna.
All right.
I was gonna say something because I've had a few. I'm not gonna say it though.
I'm just saying.
Just to clarify
come
my
on.
point, just to clarify my point on McCaffrey, I will be starting him this week in my season long.
I'll get to Eckler when we get to that game. Don't worry, guys. We touched on it, but we'll get there in a sec. Let's get through these other games that we want no part of. We got New England and Miami here. Miami minus 3.5 home favorites here. 46.5 is the total.
I found a team worse than the Saints.
Which one? New England or Miami?
Oh, New England's gonna be so bad.
Oh, we're on the same page. Thank God. I thought you were going to say Miami, and I was going to have to argue.
I mean, I don't like.
Go
them
for
either,
it, Tony.
but-
Go for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, mine will be quick because I hate Miami and I hate New England, but I like Miami way more than I mean, New England, we got to go through each game and I might see something else, but I don't see how anyone has a worse roster than New England. I mean, just looking at their guys, I said it all of last year. I haven't changed my mind this year. I don't like a single guy on their team, including Mac Jones. I just don't know how they can win football games. Look at the player difference on Miami and New England. Miami just has way better players. Yeah, New England's well coached, but the spread's only 3.5. I mean, I'm on Miami for sure. I'm going to go against New England every week, all year. I think they're horrible, but fantasy wise, I'm not playing anything in this. New England's defense should be okay still. So I think it'll be, yeah, New England's D should keep it close enough, but man, no fantasy play. So I'll make it easy.
That's because they have Belichick to scheme against the other offense. But hold
Against
on,
Uncle
West Coast
Rico.
Gem. Timeout here in the chat. When does JSU ask Dunkel for his thoughts, then get up and walk away? So first of all, I asked Dunkel for his thoughts, and he won't even give me a fucking straight answer on if he's going to play CMC or not. I can't even get an if or if not, like a yes or no on if he's going to play a guy, let alone anything else. But Dunkel, I'll go to you here, and I'm going to walk away and go get another drink as I go to you here. What do you think on the New England-Miami game? And get off mute, you donkey.
I felt like I made it clear on McCaffrey. I'll be underweight on him this week, especially if he's 30%. But in relation to this game, so yeah, everybody hates the Patriots this year.
Oh God, please don't say you like them.
And it makes sense, right? I mean, ultimately, all these head turners at head coach McDaniels goes to Vegas. So all these question marks about the offense. This is still a Bill Belichick coach team, though. Miami's got a lot of hype, right? I'm a big Mike McDaniel guy. I love what he did in San Francisco. Shanahan basically took him everywhere with him, from his Washington days all the way to San Francisco. A lot of folks thought he was, the brains behind a lot of those running schemes that were used over there. It does seem like they'll turn Tyreek Hill into a bit of a Deebo Samuel in Miami, and Ken Tua, with all this talent around him and some minor improvements with the offensive line, can that be the answer? I will say this defense did not improve at all. It actually got worse. So I think it's a good spot for this New England offense. The problem is this offense is a bit of a mess. They don't even know who's calling plays yet, I don't think. I think it's going to be Patricia, but who even knows? But if we're talking value in the marketplace, it's hard not to like the Patriots to get 3 touchdowns here, just because I think Miami's going to be one of the worst defenses in football. And because of all these offensive weapons, I think this team is going to be in a lot of shootouts this year. So whether it's they go down a bunch or whether New England's just able to run the football effectively, I think New England's going to get points on the board in this game. So I don't mind the look at New England's team total, even though there's a lot of question marks there, because I truly believe Miami's going to be one of the worst defenses in football this year.
All right, ODB, who you got in this game?
Well, I have Ramondre Stevenson on my season long, so just wanted to get that out there.
There you go, ODB.
Tony, it's going to be me and you on this show next week, buddy.
Okay, so I'm in agreement that New England is trash. I've been a New England Patriot fan my whole life. I think they suck. I think the Patriots are going to be bad this year. I like them under their win total, which I believe is 8.5.
Oh my God, their win total's that high.
And it's even.
Oh man, I'm going all in on that.
It's even money on both sides. So I like under on New England.
ODB, can I have like a $200,000 loan so I can bet that?
Sure, you got it.
Thank you.
I actually, I mean, if you have the spot to be able to just, you don't care about tying up money. I actually like attacking this game more of take New England under win total, because I think if they lose this game, that's just a lock. And if they win this game, I still like it. So I would kind of lean that way. I'm a little scared of this game just from a continuity standpoint. You have Belichick, Jones, a running game, a short passing game, just kind of a good defense. Week 1 versus Tua having to learn a whole new offense, new players, new coach, new system, new everything. Kind of scares me week 1. So I don't really love Miami from that standpoint. But overall, I'm higher on Miami just for the season, and I'm low on New England. So I don't know. I'm really not sure what I want to do with this actual game, but just on a macro standpoint, I'm shorting the Pats overall for the year, and we'll probably be shorting them a decent amount in this discussion over the weeks. So I don't know. I may play Miami, I may not. If I play Miami and New England loses, then great, I win. And if New England wins, I'll probably get some good value the next 3-4 weeks betting against the Pats. So I think once teams kind of get in the flow of the season, the Pats, aren't going to be able to succeed. But versus a new system, new coach, new quarterback, new everything, I'm not really sure what we're going to get in Miami week 1.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm with you guys on a few takes. I feel like we've been with each other a lot on this show, but New England under their win total, I'm 100% on board. I already bet it. I really like that. And then Miami, I'm personally a little bit higher, but I like the coaching staff. I like Mike McDaniels. I like the system that he's going to bring over, that San Francisco system. And the reason why I like it, or one of the reasons, I think it's one of the only systems where Tua could actually thrive. And anyone who's watched my shows in the past, that no one has talked more shit about Tua as a quarterback than I have. The guy can't throw outside the numbers. He's got a weak arm, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows it. But this is the one offense where it can make Tua a somewhat successful quarterback and game manage them and then be able to win in that style. They got Jimmy G the same way. This system is perfect for him. And then getting Tyreek Hill, who can play the Deebo Samuel role, like Dunkel, I think, said or alluded to earlier. They have weapons already. And then the run game, I think the schemes are going to be similar to San Francisco. I agree with ODB. It might take a little time for them to actually get into the flow. It might take some games. It might take half a season. But I do think this team will be a solid team. I think they'll be the second best team in this division. New England will not be 2 or 1 this year. They're going to be 3rd or 4, probably 3rd, and then the Jets 4. But I do like Miami a little bit, and I do think that Tua will thrive. You might not see it in actual numbers where he's putting up crazy numbers. I just think he's going to be like Jimmy G was in San Francisco, where it was just get kind of almost like a solid quarterback who managed the game perfectly the way they wanted to, where the numbers weren't great, but at the end of the day, he got the job done. They won some games, and that's what you're going to see from this team. And I think they have the guys to do it. In Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you're going to see a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of probably carries. Tyreek Hill will probably get some carries, whether it's in the backfield or, reverses or whatever they're going to do. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting offense. I'm kind of excited to watch them and see how they use Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, because I think it'll be fun. But I like Miami. I'm a little higher on them overall, and I think they do get it done here in this first game. So I'll be on them. From DFS, I got nothing. Maybe a defense. You play defense, I guess, if you wanted to, but I'm probably not going to be on this game, even though Tyreek Hill has had some big games against New England. I will just throw that out there.
I think somebody mentioned in the chat as well. I think it's the second highest total of the early slate of the early games. It's a sneaky game.
Really?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. For most of the high totals are at the 4 o'clocks. I think it is 1 or 2 in the early games. So yeah, I mean, listen, Tyreek Hill, dude can catch 2 bombs, make 2 big plays anytime. during the game. So if you wanted to play Hill, I got no issues with it in tournaments. He's going to be low owned probably. So, I don't see anyone else though. Let's move on. San Francisco and the Bears in Chicago. San Francisco is 7-point favorites. So another road favorite here, 7 points. 40 is the total. I mean, Tony, I know you love these 40-point total games on a 13-game slate. Are we just putting this game in the garbage? What are we doing here?
I mean, I'm making it easy because it's such a big slate, and I want to keep us under 2 hours. I don't like anything about this game.
All right, Dunkel, 2 for 2?
Yeah, same here. Nothing, no strong takes either way in this one.
ODB, you want to make it 3 for 3?
No, I was going to pass on this game and let you guys talk about it. I have no interest in either team from a betting or a DFS standpoint.
It's got to be like one of the worst possible games, honestly.
That's just a complete trash throwaway game. I have no interest in.
Yep. Yeah, I got nothing. We'll make it 4 for 4, and we'll move on. I don't know what that was, but Ike likes the Bears plus
in
7.
Like less than 30 seconds. It's a record for us.
Ike likes the Bears plus 7. He says all day, Tony, all day. Ike says.
Don't get us talking about it. We were already through. Get us to the next one. Don't get me back talking about it.
We got the last 1 o'clock game. So we're almost through the 1 o'clock games here, boys. This is the 1 o'clock game that is the highest total of the 1 o'clock game. So you guys are Uncle, you were right. Dolphins are the second highest for the 1 o'clock game. The Eagles and the Lions here. The Lions, everyone's kind of a sneaky favorite team to kind of jump up and make a big leap in this year. They're at home, the Lions. They're 4-point dogs here at home to the Eagles. 49 is the total in this game. So it's going to get ownership. There's going to be some plays in this game. Jalen Hurts for DFS, I know is going to be a popular quarterback. I think A.J. Brown, with Jalen Hurts being a popular quarterback, I think A.J. Brown gets some love and some ownership. So this is going to be something for DFS. But, Uncle, what do you see here from a betting side?
Yes, I paired this game with the Browns to tease. I like teasing this up to 10.5 in favor of the Lions. Look, I mean, I think both teams are getting a lot of love in the marketplace, right? I think a lot of people like Philly this year, for deservedly so. Potentially with the Cowboys, just not being up to snuff, and Philly making some big changes, one on offense and one on defense. And as the Lions, they were just a team that had a lot of momentum last year, right? I mean, they lost a lot of games, but they felt like they were in like a lot of games in the fourth quarter. Campbell did a great job with them. But in this spot, I just feel like it's a lot of points. Like, first of all, I felt 4 is a lot of points. I think there's just way too much respect for Philly. And the fact that I can tease it all the way up through 10, I liked that. So I paired it in that respect. I just think, like I said, this Detroit team competes week in and week out. I'd argue, while they didn't get any better player-wise, I think the confidence that locker room is probably going to be a little different, at least at the start of the season. And look, Philly's got, dare I say, Super Bowl aspirations this year. I think it's all going to be on Hurst's arm, though. He's got to show improvement there. He missed a lot of easy throws last year. I guess time will tell. A.J. Brown helps. As for this, I think Miles Sanders is a sneaky good play in this spot. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be somewhat owned, but at his price, like, I know you got to pay money somewhere, and obviously to go cheaper at running back might not be super popular, but I've always liked him in tournaments. I think he has sneaky upside, and every time he takes snaps for this team, it does get worrisome with how many touchdowns Hurts steals from him. But I think that's what pushes people away from playing him every week. I like this spot. He's healthy at his price. It's going to be a guy I'm definitely overweight on in DFS.
Philadelphia last year averaged the most yards on the ground per game, 159.7 yards on the ground per game. They also have one of the better offensive line units, probably a top 5 offensive line. So I could see somebody having a big game. My issue with Miles Sanders is, can the guy ever make it through a half without getting injured? Like, literally, the guy gets injured every other game. It drives me insane. Kenny Gainwell will probably have 2 touchdowns in this game and tilt the fuck out of me when I play Miles Sanders. So I can't wait. ODB, what do you got in this game?
Well, I'm high on the Eagles for the year. I don't really like how trendy they've gotten, because I don't like to be that trendy, but I picked up some Eagles at plus 220 to win the division a couple months ago. So I'm happy with that. I think they're either co-favorite or might even be small favorite right now versus the Cowboys in that division. So I got good value there. This Eagles team is great on the lines, which I like. They've got quality cornerbacks, which I like. I just think this is a complete team. Detroit, I'm just not buying it. Yeah, they're feisty, but I don't think they're feisty versus physical teams like the Eagles. Last year when the Eagles went to Detroit, that was one of my favorite plays of the year, and they just throttled them. I think they won by 30 or 40 points last year.
It's like 44-7 too, right?
Yeah, I was all over that. And I think, I mean, it's not going to be as bad this time, but I think it's similar. I like the Lions when they play soft teams and they can just go out there and wing it, and them versus the Falcons type team is what I like.
Oh, did we get frozen ODB?
I think so.
I had to check my own. I thought it was me.
Yeah, no, we got frozen ODB. Oh, is he back?
This was first.
Yeah.
All right, so he's still frozen, but he might have wrapped up what he was saying.
Never even left character. You love it.
I mean,
Yep,
hey,
there he is.
what are you
He's
going to do?
Am I
All right.
fair?
Yeah,
Good
you're
man.
here.
All right. Anyway, I like the Eagles. I like Hurts. I like St. Brown as the run back, and I also think Goddard is a nice play with Hurts. You can get a little more unique with playing Hurts and Goddard than I'd rather play. I think might play like Hurts, Goddard, St. Brown instead of Hurts, Brown, and Swift. And just kind of differentiate that way.
All right, I like it. Dunkel, did we get you in on this game?
Yep, already talked about it.
We did. All right, Big T, you must be the final soldier here.
I mean, you got the chalk quarterback of the slate, Jalen Hurts. Good spot, rushing upside versus a soft Detroit team. I don't know. This game looks like the good game early, but a lot of the things ODB talked about, I agree with. I'd rather play Detroit versus soft teams. Just feels like a matchup that could let a lot of people down for a decent amount of ownership for Detroit Philly opening day. And again, I know I already talked about it, but we act like these teams are just going to come out and be well-oiled machines. Nobody really played preseason this year. Weeks 1 through 4 are going to be ugly. And I want to try to stay away. I always want to be away from the chalky spots, but even more so week 1, do I really want to play chalk Philly versus Detroit? Everyone's going to like this game early, although a lot of the late games are going to be very popular too, but I don't know. I'm a little uneasy about it. I basically agree with the whole take ODB had. Everything he was saying, I was agreeing with. You can play Hurts, just know he's going to be 20% owned on this slate. And I think that's pretty crazy to play 20% owned Hurts on a week 1 slate. I'll just say it. I think he's going to have a good year. I like what Philly's doing. Like I said, I agree with what ODB said. I think they're going to win the division. I think they could go to the Super Bowl even. I just don't love the spot this week. So for me,
I totally agree with Tony with the way that you attack DFS slates. You're playing big field stuff. I would definitely not play the Eagles in big field stuff. I play a different, more shallow thing, more of cash game, 10-man, 20-man strategies, but which I could lean into them. But this game could easily disappoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as super high. I just don't understand the Jalen Hurts love, how he's going to be even though ownership for quarterback doesn't really matter for especially quarterback, but I don't know. I just don't really get it that much. We have so many good quarterbacks on this slate, and Jalen friggin' Hurts. Tony, remember last year watching him against the Bucks, and we were just talking about how terrible he is. Guy couldn't make a pass
some of those primetime games. He was horrific. So
awful.
I don't know how he could
terrible.
be that much better.
Yeah, maybe AJ Brown makes him a little better, but
that's the thing. Detroit versus a physical team is not where you want them, and Hurts versus a physical team is not where you want him. I mean, you want him.
I think it's a bad matchup. I do. I agree with you. And I'm higher on Detroit and Philly on the year. I just think it's a bad matchup week 1. I think it might be ugly.
Detroit was one of those slow starting teams that figured it out in the back half of the season. They figured something out offensively. That offensive line played unbelievable, and that was after Frank Ragnow, their best offensive lineman, went down for the year, their center. He's now back. They're going to have a top offensive line too. This is going to be no slouch Detroit team. I just think we're all just like, hey, listen, it's not the right spot for them against Philly. Not that we're completely off of Detroit for the season. And I think that's where we're kind of all hanging. So let's move on here. Enough said on that game. Let's go to the 4:00 game that, I think most people will probably be the lowest on, I would assume. The New York Giants and the Tennessee Titans here. Titans at home, -5.5 are the favorites. 43.5 is the total here. The Giants got a new head coach, Brian DeBall, coming over from Buffalo. I think a lot of people are high on Saquon Barkley this year in this offense. And I think for DFS, he's going to be popular. So what do we think here in this game? We can talk about it obviously from a betting side and a DFS side. Tony, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, this game will be pretty quick for me too. I don't like it. I don't love the spot for either team. It's another example of a game I think goes under and plays pretty ugly. I hope people play Saquon because I think it's a pretty tough matchup for him. Kadarius Toney is going to be chalky at 4,100. His projection's pretty high. I think Kadarius Toney could be like 20% owned, and that to me is just crazy. No way I'm doing that. I just don't trust these teams. Week one, I'm just going to go with spots that I feel good about, and I just don't like this game, so I'm off this game.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney is definitely the interesting spot if he's going to be 20% owned. I don't know what's going to happen with Sterling Shepard. Like, he was limited in practice today. Is he going to play? Is he going to be fully healthy? But that kid Wan'Dale Robinson that they drafted, I'm just saying, if you wanted to pivot, that wasn't the chalk spot. Wan'Dale Robinson I think he's really good. And I think they're going to play a lot of like 3 wide receiver sets, kind of like the Bills did, and spread it out a little bit. So I wouldn't be shocked if he kind of did some stuff, and he's 3K. Like, he is legit stone min, and no one's going to play him. So it's just someone to kind of look out there. If I was to pick on Tennessee, it would be with a wide receiver. So, because I agree, the running back spot might be a little tough. So, ODB, what do you got in this game?
I'd lead Giants. I think this is more of a low-scoring game. I don't really trust Tennessee this year to put up a lot of points, so I'm not looking to lay almost a touchdown. I'm not really high on either team, to be honest, for the year. So I'm just going to probably lean to the points. I do think Barkley could be a reasonable play. I don't think he's in the top 10 running back ownership wise. I think there's just too many other good plays out there, and he's still a 4-down back.
Running back's definitely going to be spread the more we go through. There's just so many guys that are on the slate that are
we haven't even got to several of the best plays, I think. So
yeah.
I mean, I think I think Barkley is fine. I think his price tag's pretty reasonable too. I think he's a little over 6,000 maybe, or I don't know.
61, yep.
Yeah, 6,100. I think it's pretty fine for a 3-down back. That probably is going to catch balls. I mean, he is a very script neutral guy too. So Barkley would be the only guy I'd look at DFS wise. I don't want any part of that receiving core. And I would lean towards the Giants with the points. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're going to need Barkley catching balls in this spot right here for him to have a big day. So, Dunkel, what do you got here in this game?
I agree with you guys. I don't know where points are going to come from in this game with any consistency. Obviously, unless you get like some botch stuff with special teams or pick sixes, which I guess both QBs could happen. But yeah, as far as spread goes, I got the spread fair. And again, total lean under.
All right, total lean under. I like it. Let's move on to the exciting 3 games. We'll start here with the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Packers -1.5. They are the favorites here. Another road favorite here. 47 is the total against Minnesota. Dunkel, we'll start with you here on this one. You are our resident Vikings fan, even though you don't have the shirt on that you normally wear, like 16 out of the 18 weeks of this show season. But what do you got in this game, buddy?
I don't even wash that shirt. I just kind of throw it on.
I knew it. I literally knew it.
Yeah, so a really good tease spot, right? Take Minnesota right up through 7. Look, what O'Connell, is he going to be an upgrade or a downgrade from Zimmer? Obviously, most Minnesota fans like myself did not like Zimmer, especially towards the tail end. But early on, I loved Zimmer. A guy that was great against the spread, a guy that was great at just winning game after game. They didn't do much in the playoffs, but I'd argue they just never got it right with defense and offense at the same time. This year, it seems like that again. The defense is likely going to take another step backwards. But the offense, right? The offense should be heavily relied on here consistently, especially with McConnell coming here. From an offensive perspective, hopefully Cousins takes the next step. One big thing with Zimmer was he never used to run up the score on teams, which kind of hurt them and made them play a lot of close games last year. I think was it last year where Minnesota had never trailed more than like 8 points in a game all the way up to like week 9 or 10. But either way, obviously new coaching scheme here in this spot. I think Minnesota's a great tease option. And look, Aaron Rodgers, a lot of question marks with this offense, right? Sammy Watkins going to be the new guy. Is Alan Lazard going to be somebody he magically trusts a lot? Rodgers doesn't seem bothered at all. I don't know if you guys saw that quote from him that seems like everybody else in this division thinks it's their year, but every year I'm just finding the Packers winning the division. So, confidence doesn't seem to be lacking on his end. The defense for the Packers is obviously at minimum average or mid. And you got to like, the head coach over there as well. So either way, lean tease in Minnesota. I don't love anything in the game relative. I think this could be a decent shootout spot, but I think there's going to be a lot of plays that are popular DFS wise.
Yeah, definitely going to be these 3 games that we're going to talk about right now, this game and the next 2. We're going to have a ton of popular plays from these games, and this game's going to be no different. The big question is Alan Lazard, does he play? Does he not play? Because I think it kind of changes some of the plays that would get put in play if Alan Lazard were to be out. Looks like Watson practice, I think, today, so he might be good to go, but we have to see on these guys. So that'll be the question there for DFS. ODB, who do you like in this game? Are you on the Vikings or you got the Packers?
Well, let's just start at a macro view of these teams. Before the draft, I started looking at futures and I immediately targeted that the NFC was pretty weak, and I wanted to find a sleeper that I could play, and I found myself on the Vikings. I booked a pretty big ticket at 23.5 to 1 to win the NFC. That's since dropped to between like 13 and 18, depending where you look. So I got a really good price. So I've loved what they've done. I like the direction this team is going. I like everything about them. Again, we have a new coach with, putting his system in versus a quarterback and coach that have been together for a while. So I'm not necessarily sure it's going to pan out this game, but I do like the Vikings. I think the Vikings are more talented than the Packers. So I'm loving their +2 and change to win the division. I like them over for the season. I like them as an outside shot to win it all. So yeah, I'm high on the Vikings just in general. I will have some Vikings in this game for sure. I do think my favorite play in DFS on the whole slate, it might be Aaron Jones. Lazard's hurt, dusty ass Watkins and Cobb. I mean, I can't imagine that Rodgers isn't just going to try to get the ball in AJ's hands. It's not Dylan, but Aaron Jones' hands as much as possible. I think he'll be the leading receiver, and I think he still gets a majority of the goal line touches. So I think Aaron Jones I think he's around 6,000 too. I think he's probably my favorite play on the board. I can't see a path for him to fail. These games usually are high scoring between these two teams. So I like the Vikings overall, and I like Aaron Jones in the game.
Yeah, so I definitely love that. I love, for one, the games that Devontae Adams didn't play where Aaron Jones played with the Packers. His fantasy point numbers literally went up like 9 points per game more went from like 16 per average a game to like 25, which is pretty ridiculous. And I also think that Aaron Jones at the end of the year could be wide receiver one in a way for this team, where AJ Dillon could almost be RB1 and him be wide receiver one. That's, I think, the production that you could see from these two running backs, where they're on the field way more together than even people are maybe would expect before the season started. And I think you're going to see a lot of pass catches to Aaron Jones. And I think you're going to see AJ Dillon, especially in the short yard stuff, eat up the short yardage. And it's going to be spots where both those running backs kind of eat, because we know Aaron Rodgers, he's going to put his team in position to score points. He will. And especially against Minnesota, everyone loves Minnesota's offense. I don't think anyone's sitting here telling me, though, that defense is putting the fear of God in Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they're putting the fear of God in pretty much anyone. That defense is not going to be good. There's going to be points in this game. I love both running backs. I think if Lazard is out, I think the sneakiest play is playing both Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon together in Kirk Cousins stacks, and playing Kirk Cousins with like Thielen, Irv Smith, or Jefferson, Irv Smith, or Jefferson, and loading up the game that way. You play the two running backs. You get Rodgers wide receiver one, which would be Aaron Jones, in my opinion, where everyone's going to be trying to pick out which wide receiver it is. Is it Sammy Watkins? Is it Randall Cobb? Is it Dubs? No, just play the two running backs, get all the points, and just stack up your money. I think that's going to be the sneakiest way to build your snacks on Sunday, especially if Lazard is ruled out. But even if he's ruled in, I still think it's something you can do and viable for like million makers that people won't do. They won't play both those running backs together. And I think it's viable. So anything else on this game, boys? Did I get to everyone?
You didn't get to Tony.
I did not get to Tony. Tony, take it away then.
Very hurtful.
You know what it is? We talked about this game yesterday, so I already know your thoughts. That's what it was.
I think Minnesota could go to the Super Bowl this year, so I'm with you guys. I'm with ODB on his bet. I think they're good, and I'm so happy they got a new coach. Should be the perfect scheme for what they want to do. I'm just very, very high on Minnesota, and I'm not high at all on Green Bay. So I love Minnesota. I do think my two favorite plays of the entire slate are Justin Jefferson and Aaron Jones, though. So Aaron Jones, there's no receivers. You guys already laid it out. I don't need to re-say it. Great play. He's going to get all the pass work, dump offs. I'm playing Justin Jefferson this week. I promise you that. He is going to smash this year. Everyone knows it. He's going to be popular, but he's just going to smash. What Cooper Kupp did last year is what Jefferson's going to do this year. And I'm just going to play him every week. Every week on this show, I'm going to say, I don't care who the matchup is. He's the best receiver with Chase and Kupp in football. I'm just playing him. So I agree with the rest of your guys' takes, though. I'm on the Vikings here, though, for sure. And I feel very good about it, too. I think they could score a bunch of points here.
Yep, last three games, Rodgers and Cousins have squared off over 50, over 65, and 77 points the last three games. So these teams have scored some points recently against each other. So I think we'll see another banger here. Let's move on, guys. Don't forget, smash that like button. It's friggin' almost midnight, and we're on here doing a show. We got the three boys here, Dunkel, ODB, Big T. Hit the thumbs up for him. Simon's in the back producing. It's 3 hours past Simon's bedtime, and he's on here producing. So show the man some love. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe. That red box.
Tyler,
red
we
box
got Tyler
the
from the bet side. He's picked like Dunkel. If he picks 9 losers this week, what do you got? I mean, every game he likes the loser. Come on, Tyler.
What have you been like writing it down, Tony? How do you know he's picked 9 losers?
Because every game when I give my winner, he picks the opposite.
He might just be messing with you.
He loved the Steelers. He loves.
God.
Come on, get out of here, Tyler. Come on.
No, not my guy, Tyler. You mean our Tyler? Tyler on our team?
Right there. TH412 in the chat. Come on,
Tyler. Go back to NBA. Get some NBA props ready for me come NBA season. I mean, come on, Tyler. What is this crap? Dunkel, get those soldiers in line, man. They can't be
Yeah.
giving out the Steelers against
It's like herding cats.
All right, let's go. We got 2 more games here. We're doing good, fellas. We're doing good. Las Vegas Raiders and the LA Chargers here. Chargers -3.5. They are favorites at home. 52.5 is the total in this game. And we're looking at the second highest total on the board for the main slate here, boys. And these games, these AFC West games, I talked about it. I talked about it on the best ball show I did with those guys. They're going to be bangers. They're going to be high totals. We're going to see it all year with these teams. And I don't know. Let's, what do you think of the Raiders against the Chargers? I think everyone has the Chargers 1 or 2 in the division, possibly going to the Super Bowl. And I think everyone has the Raiders as the 4th in the division. So do you guys see the massive drop off between these two teams? ODB, I'll throw it to you first.
I'm very high on both of these teams for the year. I think the Chargers are elite. I would pick them to go to the Super Bowl, except for the fact that I think they're going to have to play in Buffalo in the championship game. So I'm leaning Buffalo as just my Super Bowl pick, just strictly for that reason. But I think the hype on the Chargers is warranted. So I mean, I love the Chargers this year. I think the Raiders are going to contend as well. I like this Raiders team. I love Devontae Adams. From a DFS standpoint, I'm fine playing Carr, Adams with Eckler, playing Eckler, Herbert. You can do whatever you want. You can do anything as far as DFS goes in this game. From a bet side, I think I like the Chargers. I want to like the Raiders, honestly, because I think the Raiders are good. But when I look at this line at 3.5, I'm looking at the Chargers as a team that I think is elite, and an elite team playing at home. Now, granted, it's not the same home field advantage that you get in places like Buffalo and Baltimore.
No, this is going to be
a
Raiders home game.
It's going to be a Raiders crowd, but you're still should be assigning a home field advantage when you're making the line, when they're making the line. And so they're basically telling me, let's say 1.5 point home field advantage, that the Chargers are 2 points better than the Raiders. I think the Chargers are elite, and any elite team at home versus the Raiders, I think this line is not 3.5. I mean, I think the Chargers are just as good as the Bills or the Chiefs or the Packers or the Bucks or these other teams that you have elite. And I don't think the Raiders are only getting a field goal against those teams. So I think there's probably some value on the Chargers as far as I'm concerned. So I'm probably going to take the Chargers, but that doesn't mean I don't like the Raiders. I just think the line's too shallow. I think the line really should be like 4.5 or 5. So I'm probably going to take the Chargers.
All right. Dunkel, do you agree with ODB about the line? Do you like the Chargers here, or do you got a little more love for the Raiders?
Yeah, definitely. Much like ODB said, definitely two teams I'm high on as well. It's hard not to be. The problem is this division is just going to beat up on each other all season. Because there's a lot of good teams in this division. The fact that the Raiders or the Broncos, whichever team is being predicted to be last by you or anyone for that matter, these are still going to be respectable teams. This spot, total's relatively high, right? 52, it's going to get a lot of popularity on the DFS end. I just think that there's a lot of moving parts for the Raiders, right? McDaniels gets his second head coaching stint from his Broncos days years back. And I do like the fact that they brought over, I think, Gunther to run their defense from New York. Because I liked what the Giants were doing defensively. I mean, their offense was terrible, but their defense still kind of hung in there game after game. So interested to see if the Raiders develop better defensively in any way with him running the show there. But yeah, tough spot. To me, the line makes sense. Chargers are definitely potential Super Bowl bound, if you will. So this line makes sense. I think this line is probably giving a little too much respect to Vegas with all the assumptions of all the new faces over there in a positive way. Adams and gets to hook back up with Carr again from college. But either way, I'm going to only be here. I think the line is a little soft. I do lean the Chargers. Not enough to fire. I kind of wish I would get 3, but 3.5, it makes it a strong lean in favor of the Chargers.
All right, Tony, I know you love some Derek Carr here, buddy. I know that's your boy. Talk up the Raiders. I know you want to talk them up hard.
My favorite part was that you got up while Dunkel described that game. That was my favorite part. But I'm actually all in. I'm all in Raiders. I think the Raiders win this game. I think it's a home game.
What?
Yeah, I love the Raiders in this spot. I think I love the Raiders this year. I don't know if it's a hot take because, like you guys said, everyone likes all four teams in the AFC West. They're all good. They all could go to the Super Bowl. They're all just elite. I think the Raiders win that division. I think the Raiders could go to the Super. I love their team. Adding Devontae Adams, I just think that's huge for them. I made fun of Renfro last year, but that was because he was a number one. Now he could be a number 3 behind Waller and Adams. I just think they're loaded, and I like their defense. I think the Chargers let down a lot. I think the Chargers will be great too. I just think they could be rustier to start the year. I love the Raiders this week. Fantasy, though, I think this game plays way under the total. I think it plays ugly. And I do agree there's going to be a lot of points in this division. But again, like I keep saying, week one's going to play uglier than people think. And I could see this game playing ugly. They know each other well. I just don't think we see a ton of points in it. Both defenses, I think, are underrated in this game. I think the Chargers defense will be way better this year. And I don't know. I'm very, very high on the Raiders in this game.
I do want to say one thing real quick, just to repudiate that point. I think the Chargers will be extremely motivated because the Raiders took them out of the playoffs last year.
That game was insane, by the way, now that you bring it up.
So the Chargers had a chance to win that game and get in the playoffs. They lost. They had a chance to tie that game and then both go to the playoffs. And the Raiders, instead of kicking a field goal, decided to try to get a touchdown just to fuck them and knock them out. So I think if there's a chance to, if the Chargers are up 3 and they have a chance to put another score on them, I think they might go ahead and do that too. So, I think you can get the backdoor cover from the Chargers standpoint that they might be more of a blowout. But I mean, it wouldn't shock me if the Raiders won, but I just wanted to say there's a little extra motivation there on the Chargers too for what happened on the last game. So anyway, that's all I have to say on that.
So, okay, I like that. One, I'm stunned that Tony is putting this much faith in Derek Carr. 2, I love that he's finally come on board with Derek Carr because I'm on board with him too. I like the Raiders in this spot. I think everyone sees the Chargers. I think they see them as the 1 because I think everyone thinks the Chargers have the best defense in the division, which they may. They may have it. They have a really good O-line. Justin Herbert's probably a top 3 quarterback, however you see him. He's, top 3, top 4, whatever he is. And they got all the weapons. But the Raiders team, for some reason, I just feel like is going to have a shot. I just love their pieces. I love their construction. I really like Derek Carr as a quarterback. I think he can do everything. Maybe he's not the best at anything, but he can just do everything pretty well. And he's got the weapons now. Like Tony said, Renfro's not number 1. You know what I mean? Even when Darren Waller was healthy, okay, it was Darren Waller and him. Now they've got like a true number 1. Darren Waller's not going to get double coverage and, safety high help all the time. He's going to be able to be one-on-one. He's going to be able to, kind of dominate when they get down in those red zone areas because they're going to have to pick and choose. Devontae Adams, him, Renfro. They got the running backs there. It's going to be really interesting, and I think that division is going to be fun to watch, but I really like the Raiders. And the one thing I'll disagree with, I think from now on, from what those games showed us last year, we want competitive games. We want games where 2 teams are good teams going against each other, even if they have decent defenses or whatever. And I think those games last year, those kind of shootout games that we saw from those 2 teams, and I forget the other game, there was a massive shootout towards the end of the year, but those games where it's competitive teams, I'm in on those games. I think this game goes over the total. I think the Raiders are going to be really interesting for DFS because I think some of those guys are going to be lower owned. I really like Darren Waller. I like pretty much all their weapons offensively. I'll probably like Derek Carr as well, just because of it. And I'll have obviously some Chargers on the other side, but I'm going to stick mainly to the wide receivers. I'm not going to play Eckler. Kind of worries me a little with like the fact that he had a massive touchdown number last year. And there has to be some type of like regression coming with that number. And the snaps, there was a lot of things about, making sure his snaps were kind of in check and his workload and working other people in. That kind of worries me, at least the beginning of the year. So I'm going to stay away from him probably towards the beginning. And then I might ramp up as the season goes on and the games get a little more meaningful towards the end of the year, because I think they might have to push him a little bit more. But that's how I see this game. I love it. I think it goes over the total, and I hope people out of these two games are more off the Raiders side, because I'll be on it. But let's go to the last game here and get this thing done with. We got the Chiefs and the Cardinals here in Arizona. The Chiefs are favored. -6 is the line. 54 is the total here. So the highest total on the board. No Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. You got no DeAndre Hopkins. He's suspended for the Cardinals. So we got a few things different with these teams. Dunkel, I'll come to you here first. First of all, do you see a shootout with this team? What do you think of the total here at 54?
Yeah, there definitely should be points here. I mean, look, we know when we get Kingsbury early in the year, we get Kyler Murray earlier in the year. These are two different individuals. Kingsbury's offenses, even go back to his college days, just do really well early in season. And Kyler Murray has proven throughout his short career, no pun intended, that he consistently has been playing well up to the first few weeks of the year. Now last year he took it all the way to week 8 or week 9 before the wheels started to fall off. But it's hard not to like this offense. I know Hopkins isn't there, but like Hopkins wasn't Hopkins last year. Like he wasn't his typical top 5 wide receiver numbers. I think that, filling that gap might be a little tough, but I like the fact that they really rely on Connor now in the backfield. And I think they got somebody new, didn't they, on that end?
Marquise Brown, yeah.
Yeah, so receiving wise, I mean, obviously they lose Kirk, but they do pick up Brown there, and I think Darrell Williams. I don't think he was there last year.
From the Chiefs.
But either way, I just think I like them to score points here in this spot. I don't love the Chiefs defense. And Murray can outrun a D line, so I'm not as worried there either. But again, this is more around, I think you could really target Arizona's team total here over. I think it's 23.5 maybe. I'm gonna have to confirm the number, but I do think it's 23.5. That has all to do with that. I trust Kingsbury, I trust Murray in this offense early in the season.
All right. ODB, do you trust Kingsbury's offense early in the season? What do you think of Chiefs without Tyreek Hill?
Last game I liked both teams long term. This game I don't really like either of these teams, honestly. I know everybody loves the Chiefs. I mean, I've heard more Chiefs love from the things that I listen to. I'm not on the Chiefs this year. So this is kind of my theory. I don't know. Might be bullshit, might be stupid, but this is kind of how I think about it. The Chiefs and Mahomes were so great. They were able to overcome other teams because he was just such a better quarterback than the other quarterback on the other side. While Mahomes is so great, I feel like the quarterback class as a whole over the last 3, 4, 5 years has really just escalated. And you've got Herbert and Burrow and Allen and Murray and all these guys. I mean, Murray's not in the class of those guys, but you know what I'm saying. And I think the gap between Mahomes and the second and third tier quarterbacks is really narrowed. And I don't really see the Chiefs elsewhere as being that elite. So when they had Mahomes, who was such a better quarterback than everybody else they'd be playing, then, he could really overcome all that stuff. I just see them as a team now. I'm just not in love with the Chiefs long term. I don't trust Kingsbury or the Cardinals or Murray. So I probably won't be high on either of these teams much. If I have to choose a side on this side, it would probably be the Cardinals, and I'd probably go under. DFS, it's the highest. If it's the highest total on the board, I hope that it soaks up the ownership because I'll probably be off of it. I think Juju is kind of cheap, so maybe there's a spot, but I don't know. I'm not really on either of these teams just in general. So those lines got steamed from 3 to 6, so I may buy back some at the Cards, but nothing real super strong.
All right, Tony, what do you got here with these teams? Do you not believe in these teams long term? Chiefs seem like a good team too for stacking in DFS, obviously, because they just got so many weapons. And if you're MMEing, they seem like lock in and 2 receivers with it. Kind of seems like your style of team to stack up.
Yeah. So the issue is sometimes I think we just overthink football. And look at the Kansas City roster. I agree with ODB. Kelsey's great, but he's getting older. We saw a little bit of a drop off towards the end of last year. And then besides him, you got Juju, who has looked rough, and then just nothing behind that. I mean, MVS, who was terrible in Green Bay, couldn't catch the ball. Sky Moore coming in first year. I mean, the running backs are all terrible. Yeah, Mahomes is elite, but last year, even Mahomes struggled a little bit. Once they figured out the drop coverage and make him just pick up 5 yards a pop and drive down the field, he wasn't the same. And again, I'm not saying he's not great. He is great, but the weapons just aren't as good. The division's incredible. You got guys like Burrow and Josh Allen in the AFC that are amazing. I agree with what ODB. I hate agreeing because it's funner when we argue, but I basically agree with exactly what he said. And I'm not on Arizona. I mean, I hate Kyler Murray. I've hated him since we started doing these shows. Rondell Moore is going to be 25% owned at 4K. Like, really? What has he ever done?
No way. 25% owned.
That's what I'm showing.
Rondell Moore.
It's just that this total, what happens is, you know what happens? It's a massive total. People are going to love the Chiefs. You go and you start looking for run backs, and he's 4K, and he's projected for 11 fantasy points. He's going to end up chalky. He hasn't been good since Purdue. He's a gadget guy. I just don't see it. I don't like Marquise Brown. I never have. I think Kyler Murray's terrible. Zach Ertz is 70. Another guy I could beat in a race. I'd be 4-0 if I threw him in the race with me. I mean, these guys, AJ Green, I might be able to outrun him too. He's playing. I mean, these guys suck, and it's the highest total. I mean, again, it just feels like I'm stealing what ODB said, but I agree with him, so I'll piggyback on. I hope people play this game.
I love how MVS is supposed to replace Hill, and
that's what I love too. It's
like all of a sudden. I mean, it's like, oh, he
just
has
because he's
quarterback
fast.
throwing, and it's wait, if I remember correctly, he had Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball for the last 3 years, and he couldn't catch it. He's all of a sudden just going to catch because of Mahomes. It's not like he went from Jacoby Brissett to Mahomes. I mean, Juju.
They act like Tyreek Hill was just a deep guy, though. Like Tyreek Hill would take screens to the house. Like,
and if you want to make an argument for Juju, okay. I mean, there's an argument there that Roethlisberger was the worst quarterback in the NFL. But I mean, MVS was playing with Aaron Rodgers. Get the fuck out of here that he's going to actually be a real receiver. He's Hardman light. I mean, he's the same guy as Hardman. He doesn't catch the ball. He has one good play every 5 weeks, and all of a sudden he found it, and then he drops balls for 4 weeks. Get the fuck out of here with this guy.
I mean, McCole Hardman's going to try and play Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he's going to be the guy that is actually Tyreek Hill. I'm just saying he's going to play the role, not MVS. MVS ain't playing that fucking role. He can't. He physically can't play it because, like Tony said, Tyreek Hill was catching short passes, doing end arounds, screens, going in motion, jets. MVS can't do that. He runs in straight line. He runs straight lines, get him in the slot area and then make him run go routes or across the field. That's all he's doing. And he still can't catch half the fucking time when they put it on him perfectly. So I don't think he's going to be running that role. I think it's Hardman or Sky Moore probably.
This freaking donkey in the chat, where'd he go? He said funner's not a word. I mean, first of all, what is this, English class? Second of all, funner is a damn word. So get out of here, KC Chiefs. Just because your team's going to finish in 4th place, you don't got to get mad at my English.
KC Chiefs, he's upset right now. He doesn't like this show anymore. He definitely just muted us all.
We've been on the Chiefs. I mean, we still got AP at Run Pure. He's going to still get in his whitey tighties and stroke off to the
I guarantee
Chiefs,
you AP's on Mahomes and Kelsey stacks. No way.
He's probably already got his core up on the page with the freaking
He's got, it's going to say Mahomes, Kelsey, and some other receiver. So that's going to be his core, guaranteed. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. I actually like the Raiders game more than this game, so I'm with you guys on
Even
being a
if
little
you
lower
like
on
the
it.
Chiefs, like how can you be confident who the guy's going to be?
No, that's
like,
that's it. I think they actually make more sense as an MME play if you're 150ing, because then you can mix and match. Like, let's say you just had total confidence the Chiefs were going to score, you just didn't have confidence on who. You're like, I'm locking Mahomes in my 150, and then I'm just going to spread around all these receivers. I could get behind that because then you'll have like a bunch of combos of different guys, and maybe you catch the nuts, Tony. Maybe it is Sky Moore, who comes out of nowhere and catches a bomb or something like that. And then Travis Kelce just does his thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is Hardman, like I think. Maybe MVS decides to catch the ball with Pat Mahomes. I don't know. Maybe they put like that sticky stuff, the replacements guy had. What's his name from that movie? I can't remember, but the sticky gloves, they put it on him and he catches the ball. So we'll see on that one. But I think that's it, boys. I think we talked up all 13 games. We didn't do it in an hour and a half, Tony, but we did it in under 2 hours, I think. I think we're just going to be under 2 hours. So
hopefully at some point this year we can do 90 minutes.
I think we'll get down to 90. This is first run. We had, full season things to talk about. Real quick, let's get our Super Bowl picks on record, just so I can come back. We can come back at the end and know what we got. I got Bills over the Vikings in the Super Bowl. And if somehow the Chargers were to get home field, I would. If they weren't in the West, I would pick them. But I don't think they're going to have home field, so I can't see them going to Buffalo. So I got Buffalo over Vikings in a tortured fan base.
You got a Super Bowl.
It's going to be a bad year if he's on mute giving his picks.
Tampa Casey.
Oh, you got Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Oh.
No.
Oh.
I kiss a Tom Brady poster before I go to sleep every night.
You don't seriously have Tampa.
You kill me right now.
Oh.
Tony, you got your Super Bowl picks?
$4.
I can't even think of that.
You made Tony speechless. That doesn't happen very often.
Ooh, Tampa's rough. But I'm going to go with my Bengals. I feel good about them. I know teams don't usually – I kind of agree. Earlier we said there was a little fluky last year. It kind of was, but I was on them. You got Joey B, who's a winner. I just think they're going to be better, and they don't have to play in that gauntlet of the AFC West. I think Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland are all going to be weaker than people think. Give me my Bengals. I'm okay with going with Bengals, and I'm with ODB on the Vikings. I like them in the NFC. I'm sticking with it. So
nice.
No one's going to have this Super Bowl, but Bengals Vikings for me, with the Bengals getting it done this time.
I love it.
The Bengals Vikings for you.
I mean, no one's going to have that, but I honestly believe it. And we should be doing it based on odds anyways, and I'm getting a good price on both teams, so I'm in on that.
I was going to say, if you're doing it by odds, then that is definitely.
I mean, my picks would always be different if we weren't basing anything on odds, but we're a gambling show. I mean, we gotta
just do like JSU does. Just pick the favorite.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear what he picks.
Well, you got to pick ODB. You got to have two sides to it. You got to make it clear. Tony made it clear he's doing it by odds. Because see, if Tony didn't say that, everyone would be
like picking by odds better, anyways, because it's like harder
known.
just to pick. I like just doing it by the odds.
Well, you got to make it known, though. See, Tony, if I didn't say that, you wouldn't have said it.
Like, if you didn't give me odds, I would have a harder time picking with no odds.
Who's your Super Bowl no odds?
It's just harder for me to think of. I can't think about without the odds. Without, though, I would pick Buffalo for sure without odds, and I'd pick.
You can go with a guy named Tom.
I would definitely not pick Tampa with no odds. The NFC's tough, man. I think it's wide open. I think I'd pick San Francisco with no odds, probably. I hate that. That's why I want to do it with odds. I want our Vikings.
San Francisco.
I don't like the NFC. No. I don't feel good about anyone in the
Honestly,
NFC.
I don't feel good about anybody in the NFC, to be honest with you. So, when I pick it, it has to be with odds because I don't really like many teams, but the team that I do like, Tony hates, and I'll take them just because no one will like them. But the New Orleans Saints.
Oh my God.
Yes, the Saints.
Oh.
I like the Saints here. I hate the division. I hate the NFC. I don't really feel strongly about many teams.
Oh my God, the Saints?
The Saints. Give me the Saints.
People are never going to watch our show again. You guys just picked Tampa and the Saints.
How do you guys piss on me for picking a guy?
I'm not pissing on you anymore, Dunkel. I'm going straight for JSU now. The Saints.
Oh, I'm going to come back though with the winner, though.
Like ODB's like, oh, you're picking favorites.
I'm going to come back though with the winner though, because I'm agreeing with you that the Bengals get back and they get it done this time with the upgraded offensive line. So I'm agreeing with you that the winner will be the Bengals.
Yeah, this is the show to start the year. Pick a different NFC team. Come on,
dude. I hate
Find
all
a
these
different
teams.
one.
Like
the Saints aren't going to the Super Bowl.
Okay, who'd you have again?
Pick anybody else. Pick Philly or somebody. Pick
God, I hate that division.
Pick anybody. JSU almost had a heart attack when I said the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean the
Bucs,
Saints.
You gave the Bucs with Tom Brady, who's literally going to make it like 3/4 of the way, and then get divorced.
The Bucs are the betting favorite. I mean, the Bucs are a lot better pick.
I wish
I could fade that pick though. Like that's where I wish people could bet the Bucs with me. I would take anyone that wants to bet the Bucs, just bring it my way.
Fine, I'll take the Packers. Fuck it.
I do that. See, that's respectable. Get in there with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Bucs have O-line issues, yes, but they also.
I would take the Packers over the Bucs any day of the week. I would take the Packers all day over the Bucs. We're just talking straight up. I hate the Bucs. All right. Anything else?
All right.
Tony, you want to say something?
I mean, just the last thing. I know I said it a bunch, but week 1, do not forget this. If you're watching this, it will play uglier than you think. I promise you. So don't go in and just play all chalk. If there's ever a week to fade chalk, it's week 1. Games are going to play ugly. Sure, every game won't play ugly, but games that we think are going to score a bunch of points will play ugly. I promise you. So it's a great week to find some contrarian takes. Try to ship a millie. We got millies all over the board. Play it aggressive and play. If you like a weird team this week, like the Saints, get in there and jam them.
West Coast, I had to do what ODB said and give one with the odds and without the odds. So that's what I did. It's not nutting up and not nutting up. I nutted up. I gave my with the odds pick, and then I gave my without the odds pick. Don't tell me to nut up. I already did. Pick the fucking Saints. They're like plus $4 billion to get to the friggin' Super Bowl. So if the Saints ever got to the Super Bowl, I'd be a very rich man. I'll just tell you that right now, and I wouldn't have to bet a lot of money. So
you're already a very rich man. So
I'd be like ODB rich. I'd be sitting with that friggin' cactus behind me. I'd have 2.
Oh, 2 cacti.
Oh yeah, I'd have one on my right, one on my left. I'd have 2. That'll be next show for ODB. All right, that's it. We're out of here, guys. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Make sure to check out all the content over at Run Pure Sports. NFL 15 is the promo code, 15% off your monthly subscription for life. Hit that like button as you get on out of here. For me, JSU, Big T, ODB, Uncle Dunkel. Simon, wrap us up.